Welcome back to Let's Get Koozie. I am your host, Dani, brought to you by Hawkstream. Today, for our guest, we have Brittany and Carrie. Say hey.
Hello.
Hi.
I do have your last names on here, but I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how to pronounce
Oh,
them.
that's so funny. No one ever knows how to pronounce mine. They think it's hard, but it's not. It's just Garshnick.
Oh my god, that's what I thought it was.
Okay, it scared me a little bit, so I was like,
It is scary.
I'm really bad with names, especially pronouncing them, so I was like, I don't want to, bash those. So, and...
My last name is Vigneaux.
It doesn't look like that.
It doesn't. It's a bunch of letters, but it's okay.
Vigneaux Noir.
It is spelled
Yeah.
Vigneaux.
It's
French.
She's very French, but we love her.
What's really funny is that I went to your Instagram to get your last name because I didn't know it, but it's Anne, and I was like, ooh, but I work with you. So I looked on her work schedule, and that's how I got your last name.
You could have texted me.
I wanted to be professional and already know. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So just to get us comfortable, I just want to ask you a couple questions just to get us started. So, what do you do to relax? How do you relax on your downtime?
That's a great question. I need my downtime. I turn all my lights off, and it needs to be quiet. I usually I have blackout curtains, because if it's in the middle of the day, I need a nap. It has to be completely dark. I've gotten into meditation and Yoda.
We love a good baby Yoda.
We love baby Yoda.
I just look at Yoda memes so that I feel so much better.
One of my favorites is chicken nuggies.
Oh boy.
I'm currently in need of some yoga and some meditation and a good power nap right now. So I'm gonna make more slip ups like that.
Oh, that's totally fine. I love that.
So on a good day, I would nap because that's honestly the best.
If there's time. Are
recovery
you
time.
a power nap or a 3-hour nap kind of person?
Anytime I nap, it's 3 hours. I can't do a power nap. I don't know why I'm incapable.
Yeah,
But
okay.
the location is really important.
Okay.
And it also matters on the season and the temperature outside because
Ooh, yeah.
hammock.
I don't have one yet.
Oh,
I need to
God.
get on that.
That's on my bucket list.
It literally changed my entire experience here. Before I got a hammock, I would try and sit outside some. And then I got a hammock. That's all I want to do.
I'm buying one.
Especially take it to the beach, tie it to the pier. Watch the sunrise. Oh, beautiful.
That sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
After my finals last spring semester, my roommates and I went out and they hammocked, but I don't have one. So I had this little blanket and I laid it out, and we were kind of day drinking because we were done by then. We are of age. And there's just me passed out on the ground, and my body's in this weird position. It was a great nap. I really enjoyed it.
A drool nap.
Oh yeah,
You wake
for
up
sure.
And you're like,
I woke up and I was like, oh.
That's a great sound bite right there.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone listening, just turn the volume down. I sound like, oh Lord.
Sorry, listeners. But today, even though we're being light and fun right now, this is kind of a serious topic that we're going to be discussing. So our topic today is being comfortable with rejection.
Dun, dun, dun.
And not just in relationships, but opportunities within your career, hobbies, or work too. So, how do you guys feel when you hear the word rejection? What comes to mind for you?
It's scary. You don't want to be rejected. Everyone wants to be liked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In some way you want to be accepted. It's one of my professors was talking about, it's literally just human nature to be a part of the tribe and to be accepted into the tribe. So anytime that you're shut out of the tribe, that means your survival is in danger because you're not accepted into that. So there's a whole psychological thing happening I've been learning about lately, just the fear of being left out of the tribe, left behind for predators to come after you and being vulnerable. That's just a basic human animal need that we have. And yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I feel like I have 2 answers. The first answer is the stock answer that you say to make everyone think that you have your stuff together.
Oh, yeah, for
Which
sure.
is, when I hear rejection, I think of growth. That is like.
But let's be honest.
Let's be honest.
It hurts.
When I hear rejection, it's like, it is in a way growth, but it's also like, I'm a plant person, love plants. So like, to me, like, rejection is like not watering your plant for like 3 weeks and it just kind of shriveling up and it's like on the verge and it needs water. It has to get water. So it's like
cutting you off.
Yeah, it's taking you to that cutoff point.
Yeah, which is why I feel like a lot of people fear it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I don't want to feel this way. It's like a bad feeling. But how can we like change our perspectives from a negative reaction to rejection to a positive one?
I think allowing yourself to feel the feelings, like allowing yourself to like feel hurt and be disappointed, like learning to kind of like be self-compassionate and just say, you know what, rejection is just kind of like part of life and it's okay if I'm sad. Like, I love my show Gilmore Girls.
Yo, I've been watching that. I'm on season 2 right now.
To allow yourself to just be sad for a day, to just cry, to complain, to eat your ice cream. What do they call it? Just wallow. You need to have a day of wallowing. And that is perfectly okay. Like, you are human. The world is messed up. Things are not going to go your way at some point, but you just need to learn to just be like, yep, this is very uncomfortable and I'm in pain, so I'm going to eat my Ben & Jerry's ice cream for a day, and then tomorrow you wake up and you do something new and you try again and you just be like, well, that's just part of life.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest problems is, like, people think they don't get a day to wallow. People think that they have to be okay immediately.
All the time. Yeah.
So often it's not like, oh, okay, I get to feel rejected. I get to feel these feelings of not measuring up to whatever it was that I was going for, and instead I just have to shove that all down and like do better. I have to be better.
If you shove it down, it's gonna come up later.
Exactly.
That's like if you ever been to like therapy, they're like, what about like your childhood? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, there was this one time because you never processed it. If you don't process it in the moment with like the next few days, it can become a trauma. Which is like we can probably all remember in like elementary school or middle school where we told a boy that we had a crush on him, no matter how small it was. Like, I remember putting a note in like a kid's desk and be like, you're super cute. One of those like check yes or check no kind of things, and like hoping them would be like, yeah, like this is gonna be my new boyfriend. What was I thinking? I was in elementary school. And it just went bad.
That kind of happened to me in middle school. For the first time, I asked this guy out, and he never said anything, and I was like devastated. Like, he just stared at me after I said something, and I was just like, okay. And after that, I didn't ask anyone out for like till last year. Until that was middle school till last year, and I'm gonna be 23 in June, so that's a long time.
But that's the thing, it like sticks with us. We let that like that moment of rejection like kind of define who we are, and we said like, because that boy didn't see like worth in like spending time with me or accepting me, then that must mean that I'm not worth anything. And we all of a sudden just kind of like point it on ourselves. And like my big thing with rejection is usually it's actually not about you.
Right.
It's really about the other party, whether that was like a job opportunity or whether it was a stupid boy who just didn't know like what the heck is happening and how awesome you are. Like it's usually not about you, but the part of like rejection is you always usually just like blame yourself, and all of it comes like pointing back to you.
I'm
like,
so bad at
I'm
that.
not good enough. But really what it was, you just happened not to be good enough for that one boy. But really you could be good enough for any other boy. He probably wasn't good enough for you anyway.
Right.
But let's talk about that. Like, even though they're not for you, I guess the positive part of it would be like, you know, that just means you're better for someone else. It could just mean that your chemistry levels just aren't clicking, and it wasn't like meant to happen, because you don't want to like force yourself to be with someone you're not truly compatible with, you know? Yeah, like, I'd rather someone just be like straight up and be like, hey, guess what? I don't like you, instead of like ghosting or trying to lead you on and stuff like that. It's like, just be straightforward, honest. I mean, you can fluff it up a little bit, so I'm not like not crying in front of you. like be nice about it, but at least be honest. Like, let people know, you know.
Honestly, that's my thing, where I don't care. Like, you can tell me that, like, turns out I'm not interested. Or turns out I'm not ready for anything, or I don't need a relationship, or I'm focusing on myself. Like, say whatever you want to say, just let me know.
Yeah.
So that I can process it.
Yeah.
So that I can give it a name, whether it's rejection or whether it's not the right timing.
Yeah.
If I can name it, then I feel like I can get over it.
Because if someone doesn't put words to, like, why they rejected you, then you just go into, like, this spiral of trying to, like, justify it. And then you just go into these weird scenarios that, like, don't make any sense at all. But you just, like, start making stuff up if it was, like, left unclear.
And what happens is when you're the one that's left to determine what it was, what you end up doing is you bring your deepest insecurities, the part that you dislike the most about yourself, which that person didn't even know about.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh my god,
a moment.
Because he didn't text me back, he knew that I cheated on my test in 6th grade. Oh my god.
Oh my god. I know.
That's why.
I literally just remembered I had a friend in middle school block me on Facebook over the summer. Like, you know when you didn't see your friends, like, all summer? I just, like, remember that memory and, like, how hurt I was by that, like, rejection. And what you just said is so true. You're, like, trying to, like, figure out why someone would do something like that. Oh, my gosh, I just remembered that.
Yeah.
That definitely, like, took a toll on me. But it's so stupid with technology how we're able to just unfriend people all of a sudden and just, like, leave people in the dust and decide, don't like me
that
anymore.
really, like, kills people's self-esteems. Those who are listening, don't ghost people. It ruins their mind. Just let them know. Yeah, like, just don't do it.
There's, like, a big difference between rejecting someone and letting go of someone.
Yes.
Ooh. I ain't ready
and
for
I
that.
don't know where that's going.
Not ready for that topic.
Just wanted to put that out there.
It's out there. I don't know if I'm ready to touch it yet. Nah, I think it kind of goes with the same thing. It's like you gotta feel it. You gotta give it a name. You know, be like, why am I holding on? Like, ask yourself, like, why am I holding on to this feeling? Why am I hanging on to this person? And I think, like, once you do that, it's easier to, like, let it go because you asked yourself. And it's like, okay, but are they, like, because I'm holding on to this, like, moment, are they still doing that? And if the question's no, I feel like it's easier to, like, let them go. Because they already served that purpose back then, but they're no longer doing that.
Yeah.
You just haven't had the conversation with yourself
to
see if, like, they've actually served their purpose in your life.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of sounds bad saying that about someone, but in any kind of situation, whether it's, like, relationship or business or friendship or whatever, you know, there's a purpose to the relationships that we have in life, and
they all have their season.
They do. They do. But the problem is if you're not told or if you're not let know when that season is ending, it, like, how are you supposed to deal with that?
Yeah. It's a very fluffy thing to say, like, well, everything has its season. But the hard part is when you think, like, well, I thought the season wasn't over yet.
I thought the season would last forever.
It's awkward. You don't get, like, a notification on your phone saying, by the way, friendship is about to end in about 1 week.
Oh my god, that's horrible.
That'd be a really great Black Mirror episode.
Oh Lord.
Yo, that was I could just see the terror on everyone's faces, like,
You try to figure it out before it happens and, like, rescue it.
I feel like my anxiety would just constantly be on overdrive. I couldn't deal with it.
Well, like, technology has so especially now, so much to do with rejection. Like, so much.
Like, choose this person over this person. Like, who's wearing the best clothing? Like, things like that. I think a lot of time, I think a rejection correlates a lot with competition.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what the connection is.
Well, I feel like for me, competition and rejection are related in that if I'm being rejected, it's because there's something better than me.
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Yep.
Like,
Okay,
I didn't get this, I didn't get this job because someone was more qualified or their personality won them over, like, my personality.
Yeah.
Or with a person, sometimes it could be, like, what do they want from me? Why couldn't I, like, give that to them? Or what can I give to them?
Yeah,
and things like that. That type of, like, competition, things like that.
Yeah, that's good.
So do you want to share a time in your life where you were rejected in a friendship, a relationship, or just a hobby, career type situation?
I've got a more professional one, and I
Yeah.
kind of joke with my family that this was worse than being broken up with a boy because it was my future breaking up with me.
Oh.
Let me back it up.
Okay.
So junior high school, Brittany really wanted to go to this private university. Probably should have named names, but I really wanted to go to this private university for 4 years. They had a really great media department, and I did all my
Right.
research. It was sparkly. Their marketing was amazing. I was hooked. I was I'm in love with this school. I'm in love with their culture, and I'm in love with the program and this future that they've promised me, this career that they're saying that I'm going to have if I come and study there.
Mm-hmm.
And I got through pretty much every single round of interviews, got every single scholarship possible, and it's a private university, so it's expensive as heck. And I got all the way through every scholarship possible, got into the program, into the media fellowship, only 12 students accepted, so I'm feeling like a freaking rock star. And I'm wow, I have a future, I have a place, these people want me, I'm gonna excel. And then I'm going to orientation, getting my class schedule. So exciting. My parents are with me. Greatest day. And I go to the financial aid office because my parents were breaking out the calculator and the paper. And they were saying, Brittany, with the projected salary that you would get from your first job, you wouldn't be able to pay your own student loans. And we don't have any money to give you. And we're not sure if we can get this price tag to work. Despite all the scholarships you've gotten so far, I don't know how much you're gonna be able. If I don't know if you're gonna be able to go here, but they believed in me and they believed in the school, and they're there's got to be more money. It's rich school. Come on,
Right,
there's got to be more donors.
for
We
sure.
can just kind of hustle them a little bit more. And so we went to the head guy of financial aid and scholarships, sat in his office and kind of pleaded our case. And he looked me and my parents straight in the eye. I was we don't have any money to give you. And
Wow.
about half an hour before, another staff member had told us, you guys are probably not wealthy enough to go to this school, and you're probably just going to have to give up. And for me,
Ouch.
it's that kind of rejection of well, you probably just don't have enough to go here, and there's not much we can do for you. Because you kind of have this
Yeah.
dream of college being if you're smart enough and you try hard enough, you can get a full ride and everything's going to be fine. And so I was praying for that full ride,
Oh, yeah.
Those don't exist anymore in this economy. So and my high school brain couldn't comprehend that. And so that was the first time. I'm a Christian. I'm a practicing Christian. So I actually got this really big impression on my heart from God. I didn't hear an audible voice, but I did hear these words, you don't belong here. And I was are you kidding me? Because I literally worked so hard to get here. You know how hard college applications are and interviews are?
Yeah.
And I heard that, and it just allowed me to let go. And I looked at my mom and I said, we're leaving. And we were in this guy's office, and I walked out the door, and I was I'm not coming back here. You guys, you did me dirty. You led me on for a long time, and now all of a sudden you're no, you're probably not wealthy enough to go here. This is probably not going to work out.
I feel
There's
they
nothing
could
we
have
can do for
said
you.
that a little better.
They didn't.
They were let's rip the Band-Aid
They
off.
really didn't, but by the grace of God, I went to community college, and that got me 50% off on university fees, and now at UNCW. So the rejection in that moment, it was my entire future crumbling, because I had put all my eggs in one basket, and then I was just defeated. So I stayed home and I went to community college instead, because I was just so defeated by that. And I let it define me for a little bit. I was the girl that couldn't get out of my hometown kind of thing, and I was too smart for that. So definitely blamed myself. But now I realize how much better off I am financially, because I didn't just bite the bullet and take the student loans and say, well, let me just go here and be screwed for the rest of my life financially and in the hole.
Yeah.
But I'm doing so much better now financially. It's not great because college ain't cheap, but it really taught me a lot about myself, that I don't need a university to get experience or to get clout.
Right.
As
Oh,
the
that's
kids
nice.
say these days.
Those youths.
Well, that's so good that you found the blessing within the rejection.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a really an experience that grew me, and I think part of rejection is it has to break you before it builds you kind of thing.
Oh,
Like you
for
have to be
sure.
broken in order to grow. It's kind of like a glow stick.
Ooh, I love
I got a glow stick before it works. You gotta like, you gotta
gotta
snap
crack your
it
back
and
a
shake it
little
up.
bit.
It sucks. Like you gotta put some power into it and it hurts at
Oh,
first,
yeah.
but then you glow, girl.
Honestly, you shining bright like a diamond.
What color are you? What color glow stick
Ooh.
are you?
Oh, I'm feeling like I'm neon yellow.
Oh,
Alright,
I can
yeah.
see that.
Classic.
Yeah, it brings me back to my camping days. You have dad crack a glow stick and put it up in like the tent to protect you from the mountain lions that don't exist.
But you need
It's
that.
always
I
fun.
love that for you.
So that was my super long rejection story.
No, I loved
Honestly,
it. That was
thank
great.
You for sharing, though.
Yeah,
I
That was
appreciate
really
that.
Good.
It was a crazy experience. And I told someone that, like, probably my third day when I came to UNCW because we connected because she had gone to the same university. And I told her that. She was like, wow, that's a crazy story. Yeah, it was pretty wild. I'm better for it, though.
I'm glad you're here though, because I'm
Yeah,
glad I got to
honestly.
meet you and everything.
well, thank
Because I
you.
appreciate
Because
you.
UNCW was my number 2, like, right after that. But my heart was just so broken with the whole, like,
Yeah.
university system that I was just like, I'm just going to go to community college, whatever, and just do my thing.
Honestly, shout out to community colleges.
Yeah,
Like,
Oh,
community colleges. If you're
Wake
listening,
Tech,
we
let's
love you.
go.
yeah, I transferred here and, like, best decision.
Can
I've
we
ever
just,
made.
like, for a moment, we're all transfer
Wait,
students,
what?
and we're all comm majors.
Okay, all right.
Transfer and
I'm-
comm,
Okay.
guys.
I see you.
I just realized that. I was like, wait a minute.
That's so great.
That's funny.
Smart people in the room. Oh, Carrie, what's your story?
Lord.
I gave you plenty of time to think about it.
Honestly, you did, and that might be a problem because there was like.
Do you have
18.
like more of a story that's about like a person? Because I would love to like.
I
Did something come to mind there?
Do.
Does it make you uncomfortable to
Little
share?
bit.
Yeah, she was telling
I
me
didn't
earlier.
name names, so you don't have to name
Okay.
names.
Okay. Obviously, like, I'm 24 years old. I'm a female. I've been rejected plenty of times by males. But
Ooh, girl, same.
there's this one in particular, which it's almost like, I might spoil the end here, but it's kind of like I rejected myself, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, set my sights on him. He was a little cutie. But we got really close. We were in like this program together, and like we spent a lot of time together, and like I felt very, very connected to him, and it was definitely returned to the point which also I'm also a practicing Christian, and to the point where like I felt like. Thank you, Lord, for sending me my husband. He is the one for me. Because we were just at that relationship level. Like, we weren't romantic, but we were full on, like,
Vibing.
I vibing. Like, vibing.
So hard.
I knew that he would be in my life forever.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
But.
Oh, big butt.
Turns out, like, he's now married. Bless him.
Oh.
He's now married to someone else, which is totally fine.
So southern.
This is hard. No, but like, so I remember vividly, we were driving in the car somewhere, and he started telling me about her. And like, I'm like, my heart is cracking in half.
Oh my gosh.
But it's fine.
Wait, were y'all like
that
in
hurts.
a relationship at that point?
No,
or was it more of like a friendship
it's
that you
like-
saw going somewhere?
It was like, it's so hard to explain because it was a friendship.
Yeah.
Nothing romantic had happened, but
It's the hope of wanting it to go more.
it wasn't just like a hope. It was like I felt like truly this man was going to be my husband. So it's like in my mind, I hadn't even like thought. I was like, okay, romance will come sometime. Like I don't even care. I love spending time with this guy. He loves spending time with me. Like
It was reciprocated.
yeah, it was like it felt like strong. But like we would go like big gaps of time without being able to see each other because he was from a different town and I was from a different town. We only got to see each other for like this like thing we had to go on, this trip. But we rode together and he started telling me about this girl and telling me about how amazing she is and how awesome she is and how on fire for the Lord she is. And like it's the kind of thing where I was sad, but at the same time I was so happy for him because I mean, she is amazing. She is awesome. But it's that kind of thing where I said I rejected myself because I'm the one that never, like,
made a move.
Told him, like, hey, so she loves the Lord, and she's this, and she's that, but am I also that too? Because I thought I was, and I thought we were vibing here. Yeah. So I never put that effort in to show him that I was there. But back up, I don't think it was wrong about the part that he would be in my life forever. I think it was just wrong about the context of it. See, like, I thought it was, that's like, a good perspective. We gonna be married. But it's really, like, I just love him. And, like, I know he loves me back, but it's, like, a strong, strong friendship. But it's kind of always that thing where it's, like, I thought, like, I let the fear of rejection be what actually rejected me from
so
having even a chance with him.
Oh, so you never, like, vocalize kind of like what your feelings were because the fear of rejection. Because it was the
fear of getting rejected by him.
And then you ended up getting rejected either way.
Exactly.
Did you lose the friendship?
Oh, no.
Oh,
like,
well, that's good.
I talked to him last week. He was telling me about
Don't send him this podcast.
Oh. Absolutely not.
Did you ever tell him?
No.
Oh.
No, honey.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Because at this point, like,
sensitive content, ladies and
gentlemen. He doesn't go here. It's fine.
That's great.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Like, I didn't, at the point that he was telling me about her, it kind of, like, shifted right then and there of, like, what he wants is, like, important to me, that he gets what he wants.
That's good.
And, like, she was it. So, and she's amazing. Yeah. She really is. Like, they're beautiful together. They're perfect for each other. Which is hard to say now, especially because, like, I'm the one that did it to myself. But it kind of shows that you can work through any situation that you were put in, kind of thing. Like, I put myself in that position. I made it so that I didn't get the chance, but here I am on the other side, and I'm okay, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about how, like, competition and rejection kind of go hand in hand. Did you kind of feel like for a second that you were competing with another woman?
Yeah, but
that's a hard thing to ask. I'm sorry if that was too much.
I didn't want to. So at that point, for, like, probably a 6-month period, I kind of, like, withdrew because I didn't want to compete. I didn't want to be a person that she ever felt like she had to compete with, or she ever felt like
that's good.
Yeah, because you were a good friend. You understood that boundary.
I mean,
once
I wanted to respect it. Yeah.
You were like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, how long did it take for you to heal from that rejection?
So after he told me, it was probably like springtime-ish, just like you know, early in the year. By about like holiday season, we were back to like communicating like normal. I feel like I had to remove myself a little bit further than I had wanted to. Like, I didn't cut him off. I didn't ghost. I did not ghost. Good. We're not ghosting anyone here. But, like, I just withdrew. And I had to set the boundary within myself.
Good.
I had to
Boundaries
tell myself
are good.
that, that's not what he's there for. No. So.
Did you have a day of wallowing?
Oh, honey, I had about 4 or 5.
That's okay. Get your ice cream.
I
get your
just had a memory
with the dogs.
of what I did to wallow. As afterwards, my parents and I went out to lunch after having that terrible conversation with that terrible person, that terrible place. We went to Applebee's, and I had like a bacon cheeseburger with like a fried egg on it, and I don't eat like that. But when I'm stressed, that is exactly what I want.
You're like, give me all the grease.
Yes. And then like the next day, my parents felt so bad that I was like so hurt. They took me to the movies. We all went. And we went to see My Big Fat Greek Wedding. But it was like the newest one.
Oh my god. The remake.
But the storyline was about their daughter going to college. And I was like, I can't go to college.
Please tell me you got ice cream after.
Yeah. My sister like cut up all of the college's shirts that I had bought over time, thinking I was gonna go there. We had like a burn party and everything. Oh yeah, you have to go through like all the stages of grief after a rejection. You really do.
It's actually
there's
and
so many.
And you have to like reset your brain to like think about that whole thing a different way. But you need to go through like a grief. Yeah.
That's
period.
super true.
And grieving the relationship, grieving like the future that you thought that was going to be. Because if you thought this man was going to be your husband, that's a whole different level than me thinking it was going to be my college. Because there's plenty of other colleges, but like if that was your one man, ouch! Like how'd that grieving process go for you?
It was a lot of like. Well, at first it was a lot of confusion because, like I said,
I am confusion.
America is playing.
Sorry.
It was confusion because I thought, like, I remember so vividly. We were in the Cheesecake Factory and we were eating and like we were just having a good time, and like one of his like closest mentor friends, older gentleman, prayed over us. And, like, I started bawling in the prayer. Like, I'm not even kidding. I'm in public. I'm in a Cheesecake Factory. My eyes are running with water.
May the cheesecake be with you.
Because I'm crying so bad because I swear this man is praying a prayer that is literally just words straight from my heart, straight from my soul. And it like, my brain interpreted it like, okay, you see us together. You're praying over us. Amazing. So it was a lot of confusion because I thought that was almost like blessed, you know?
Yeah.
So dude, my story's the same way. God had opened every door to every scholarship, and then all of a sudden the door closes, and you're like, what the heck, man?
What?
It's like just kidding. We're going to take a U-turn.
Yes. Sometimes, like, you'll get led down one path, and I always wonder... I still wonder this about, like, this whole college thing of if I led myself down that path selfishly, thinking I was building a future and I actually never asked God, is this what you have for me? And if he had to let me go all the way to the end to just cut me off and be like, no, it's not what I had for you because you never asked. Like, I always wonder if I actually asked God, and I can't remember. I could probably go back to some journals, but I always wondered, did I really, like, consult God on this and really pray about this? So that's, like, a really hard thing about being a Christian is all of a sudden in your life you have, like, a second decision maker that already knows the best decision for you, but if you don't consult that, you get yourself into a whole lot of trouble, and then all of a sudden he redirects your path and is like,
I
have something better for you, but it's still gonna suck a little bit to get there.
I'm not gonna tell you about it because
that's
and
so
that
hard.
is why faith is important, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, definitely.
Your podcast just turned into a sermon. That's all we listen to.
It's a sermon. It's okay.
In the hallway, we were talking about, do you listen to podcasts? And Carrie was like, yeah, I listen to sermons. I was like, yeah, me too.
Shout out to Birdie.
Shout out. No, but you said that you have to, like, reset your brain.
Yeah, you have to retrain it, like, rewire yourself. It's like let yourself feel the emotions, write it out if you need to, go to a friend, go to a family member, or even, like, a therapist if you need it. But, like, don't push those thoughts away.
Right.
Like, allow yourself to feel the emotions that you're going through. Don't sit too long.
Yeah. You're allowed to be human.
Yeah, you're allowed.
For, like,
yeah,
depending on the situation, if it was a guy that you thought was going to be your husband, you can have 4 days. That's fine.
Thank you.
But if it was a college and it's just college, I had about 2 days and then I was okay. Like, I figured it out and
Yeah, which is fine. But you just gotta ride it out. Yeah.
I think part of the resetting your brain is also resetting the word rejection. Like, you look at it, and we talked about what we feel or what we hear when we hear the word rejection. Well, maybe, I mean, it's villainized. Rejection is, like, villainized, but really what it is it's...
A preacher word would be like, it's redirection.
Oh, yes.
I think rewiring it is a part of changing your perspective.
Yeah.
Like, I've been doing that a lot these past, like, few years, changing my perspective on how I view things when something happens to me. It's like, what is the blessing out of this? Yeah. And some notes from my dear friend, Laura Siljander. Love you. She's a oh my god, words. Where are they? She is a professor here, but she's also a therapist off campus.
That's cool.
And she gave me some notes. And some of the stuff she said is, rejection is almost like a stage of grief. You are on a roller coaster of emotions, but if you put effort into healing, eventually you will be okay, or maybe even better than the person that you were before.
Ooh. She right.
Okay.
And that's pretty much what we've been talking about the whole time.
Snaps.
Yeah, like, and she says a lot of the times it's more about, like, how we heal from it or what we do after the rejection.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you do a lot of, like, self-pity and, like, hating on yourself.
Yeah.
But she's like, there's so much goodness in rejection because it means that you were brave enough to go after it. You were, you have so much courage, so much bravery, and actually going after what you wanted. Yes, that door closed, but you did that. You went for it.
Yeah.
It might have been no, but of course there's that always, there's going to be no door open. But, so.
I love that. I
Me
think
too, I love her.
That's a big thing for me is like Enneagram Type 1. Oh my gosh, everyone's be like, oh my god, you can like read me right now. Okay, so Enneagram Type 1s have like this fear of failure, which I think a lot of other people do.
Oh my god, yeah.
And that fear of failure kind of ties in with like fear of being rejected. And if you are failing, it means you're trying, and trying is good. And so that doesn't necessarily mean that failing is always bad, because the other side of failing is trying, and trying is good. And so if you're trying and trying and trying again, then I think that's something to be like commended and like proud of yourself for.
She also said if you ever wanted to talk to someone about rejection or get advice from, talk to like someone who's pursuing a career in like acting or in music, because they get rejected a lot. So those people would
And
probably
based
be
on
the
talent
best.
and looks.
It is based on talent and looks and like all that
hard.
stuff. It's a lot to deal with, so it's like, how do they process it? Like, so she would say go to talk to someone like that.
That's good
cool.
advice.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. I love this woman.
Yeah. And if anyone is facing the pretty steep rejection right now, you need a friend to talk to, please talk to someone.
Oh, please.
Because it's really hard to do it by yourself. You shouldn't have to. Luckily, my parents are super supportive, and they helped me through it. My sister was so supportive. We burned all those t-shirts and all those pamphlets and all those things that they sent me. Like, it's really good to have someone on your side to be like, no, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
You are worth something still. Like, we believe in you. It's okay that they said no, because look at all of us. Like, we're saying yes to you. We're saying that you are still a good person, and you're still, like, worthy of, like, love and belonging, because sometimes your world becomes so small when one person has like the power to your self-worth, and you kind of gave that to them, like I'm putting all my self-worth in you, and then all of a sudden they say no, then you feel like you have lost all self-worth in yourself. So you really have to turn to other people to like remind yourself that you're loved.
That's where it's truly got to be self-worth. You have to identify it within yourself and hold it there. Like, I've had struggled in the past with putting like my personal self-worth in like my relationships with my family, or my relationship with friends, or my relationship that didn't actually be my relationship. But when you give that piece away, when you give it to someone else, it gives them the power to, you know,
it leaves you
throw it
vulnerable.
away. It does. Which vulnerability isn't bad. Vulnerability is bravery.
I think it's taught in our society to not be vulnerable when we should be vulnerable. Like, emotions are normal. They make us who we are. It's a part of being human. And it's like, if you show that, it's taught that it's like, oh, you're weak. And no, like, you should respect someone for having the courage to express how they feel, like even in public. Like, we shouldn't shy away from it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think vulnerability is really important in safe spaces. And when you need to like process a vulnerability, I think that's really important to do with like the right people and the right timing. Otherwise, you can, if all of a sudden you decide and you make a New Year's resolution to be more vulnerable and you're spilling out your guts over like lunch with your friends, and it's not really a good like intimate setting for them to like help you process your feelings, it could get, that could be a little tricky. So vulnerability is like a hard thing that you almost have to like make room for and say like, okay, I'm gonna invite my friend out to coffee at this like quieter coffee shop, because I know that I need like that space to like feel comfortable to like share some things that have been weighing on my heart, that I need someone else to help me like carry the load and like process that stuff. So yeah, vulnerability is such like a buzzword right now, and learning how to do that and practice it and have friends that you feel comfortable doing that with. Sometimes if you don't have that, you have to go see a therapist, because sometimes like that is your safe space, and that's really important as well.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
Is there any, like, final thoughts that you guys have on rejection? Also, thank you so much for sharing, like, these stories. They were amazing.
You were so vulnerable, Carrie. The both of us. I'm never going to listen to this.
No, I will never.
I might share it on my Instagram just to promote you.
Oh.
But,
my
like,
God,
at the
please do
same
it.
time, it's going to be like, no one listens to it.
Please do.
No, it's okay.
I actually do like sharing the story. I wish I shared it with more people. Sometimes, like, those kind of, like, deeper stories, no one asks you, like, hey, tell me a story about a time you got rejected. No one asks you those things.
Yeah.
Mine
it's
completely,
really cool.
like, changed my life, so.
Wait, you haven't talked much, Dani.
Because
Hold
you guys
up.
are my guest.
Wait,
I'm asking
Dani,
you.
We bared our souls.
We really bared our
I
souls.
know we're supposed to, like, wrap it up. We're getting close to the end, but, like, do you have, like, a little bit of, like, a takeaway for you from, like, rejection?
I can try to summarize it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so this happened, like, right after a breakup that I had. It was kind of, like, looking back at it now, it was kind of toxic, and, it was just really bad. 2017 was a really bad year for me. I wasn't myself. I was, like, I was completely empty, couldn't feel. The only time I felt something is when I was, like, giving myself away to guys, and it was, like, a bad thing. But I met this one dude at, like, a party, and I thought that I really liked him. I liked the feeling that he gave me. I thought, like, oh, we have, like, good conversations. This is nice. But it got to the point where I felt like I was starting to lose myself even more. Even though I was already lost, I was doing it even more. And there was this party that I went to, and he was there. And he chose this girl over me. And it happened, like, right in front of my face, too. Like, I saw him, like, kiss this girl, like, right in front of my face. And I just remember, and I was, like, already pretty tipsy at this point. And I just, like, started drinking so much to where I did not make the best decisions. I don't think I was thinking at all when doing anything. And I just remember waking up the next day. Like, I drank so much, tequila was coming out of my pores. Like, it was bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
So bad. But I just remember feeling awful about myself, and I did a lot of self-reflecting, and I was like, I do not want to be like this. This isn't the person that I want to be.
Yeah.
Like, who?
Rejection makes us do stupid things.
Yeah. And I got my shit together.
That's good.
So I went up to my friend, and I was like, hey, I'm going to church with you this weekend.
Wow.
And I, like, that weekend gave my life back to Christ, got baptized later in the year, and felt whole again.
Gosh.
And prayed to God about my life. I was like, what am I going to do? And then he brought me here to UNCW. I remember opening, like, that acceptance letter that I got in the mail. I literally prayed to God, and I was like, if this is for me, please let it happen. Ripped that letter open, got accepted, cried to my dad.
The opposite of rejection is acceptance.
Honey,
Yes.
You gotta be accepted by the people you love, accepted by your God, and accept yourself.
Oh, yeah. It was, like, I still go through, like, a lot of stuff and everything, so I am in therapy. Like, yoga helps a lot. Like, I still deal with rejection, of course, obviously.
Every
Like,
day
we're always going through things.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's my rejection story.
Yeah.
But here I
It's
am.
turned into a redemption story.
Oh, hell yeah. Look at me
Sorry,
getting
I'm throwing out all these rager words.
But thank you so much for coming on my podcast. I enjoyed having you both.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
And thanks for tuning in to Let's Get Koozie through Hawkstream. If you enjoyed this episode, check out another podcast called Oh We Talk Too Much by Lindsay and Kristen. Hey guys, it's me again. Just wanted to add a few supporting notes at the end of this. Don't let fear of rejection keep you from missing opportunities. Use the fear to push yourself out there and reach for the endless possibilities. You're not growing if you're comfortable. You have to get out of your comfort zone and ask that person out, apply for that job, and take that risk that's been heavy on your mind. If it doesn't end how you were expecting it, allow that time to process and heal from it and try again, because you never know what may happen. It may lead you down to like a better road. This feeling is a part of life, but you don't have to do it alone. I encourage you to be brave and to take risk. Be kind to yourself. Bye.